A French civilian assisting the American Army during World War II takes the life of one of his fellow countrymen without batting an eye. A young police detective forced to shoot dead his best friend's killer. What do these stories have in common? How do they differ? Join me, and we'll tackle these somewhat controversial topics right here on Ethics Exposed. Hello, I'm Benjamin Edwards, and this is The Daily Dose. The ethics behind taking the life of another. A very controversial topic, to say the least, but hopefully with a few examples, we'll be able to shed some light on this issue. Combat. It's a wonderful show produced in the 1960s that offers a gritty and unflinching perspective of the American Army in Normandy during World War II. In this episode, a member of the French underground named Massine is taking Lieutenant Hanley and his squad to meet one of his superiors. On the way to the French underground headquarters, they run into a man that has a wagon filled with provisions. Massine believes that this man is taking this load of goods to the Germans, and is quick to play judge, jury, and executioner.
Sir? Hey, this Captain Boulange he's taking us to meet. Is he in the French Army?
Free French.
Well, what are you gonna do? Just talk to him?
Yeah, we gotta make sure he understands the plans for coordination of his forces with ours when division hits this sector. Vos éléments, je paie bien pour ça?
Mais non, monsieur, c'est pas moi, je conduis seulement la voiture.
Massine thinks that this Frenchman's bringing the stuff to the Germans.
Why? What makes you think he was taking this stuff to the Germans?
This road leads to them.
This road leads 100 places.
I could not take that risk.
As far as what happened with Massine, let's break that down in detail. What did he do wrong? Why was he so quick to judge this man and take his own life? He was one of his own countrymen, after all. He murdered the guy in cold blood, even though he had no evidence that he was taking that load of supplies to the Germans. Like Hanley said, that road led 100 places. What evidence did he have? None. Clearly, this was murder. But what would a military court-martial have said about it? Should Massine have consulted with either Hanley or his captain before doing what he did? Should he not have followed a regular military court-martial routine? These questions and others like them are the questions that we are going to be tackling right here on Ethics Exposed. In your opinion, what is the difference between murder and self-defense?
Well, there are different types of murder, but I would say just thinking about the two occurrences, murder would be taking somebody's life without provocation. Self-defense would be killing someone to save your own life.
What do you mean when you say you think that there's different degrees of murder?
Well, you can plan a murder or plan to have somebody murder somebody, and that's premeditated.
Can you kill this person? Yes.
And you can have murder that occurs as a result of not premeditation, such as you murdering somebody because you are impaired in a car.
Beverly Hills Cop. Set in 1984, Beverly Hills Cop tells the story of a young police detective named Axel Foley, who works for the Detroit Police Department. Axel's best friend, Mikey, who now lives in Beverly Hills, pays him a visit. Along with his upbeat and party-time attitude, Axel's best friend has brought 10,000 Deutsche Marks worth of stolen German bearer bonds from his employer in Beverly Hills. Unfortunately for Mikey, the man who employs him is a crime boss and sends some hired help to knock him off. Axel then travels to Beverly Hills to solve his best friend's murder case. When attempting to enter the home of Mikey's employer with the Beverly Hills Police Department, Axel is confronted by the same man who took his friend's life. Axel immediately finds that he must now defend his own life against this man. Quite a contrast between Foley and Messine. Clearly this was self-defense on Foley's part, but you have to remember he did have to exercise good judgment because he was entering the home of his best friend's killer. He could have taken out his revenge on the man, but instead he went there to arrest him. When attempting to do so, the man fired upon Foley. Foley then in turn had to return fire to protect his own life.
The prosecutor brings the case to court. He has a duty to his profession to act in an ethical fashion when he brings the evidence to the jury.
So do you think circumstances could play a major role in deciding the difference, the circumstances of the situation?
I do, and I think circumstances would be more in the hands of the jury to make a decision based on that and how much they applied to a case, how they weighed the circumstantial evidence, and whether or not they thought that's all they needed, to make the case. And in some cases, that they've had verdicts that have been found
That are incorrect?
both ways, based on circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
Murder is a serious charge. Usually with it comes a long sentence, sometimes life without parole. Circumstantial evidence, I would think, would play a minor role in a verdict like that. The major role, I would think, would have to be the weapon and the body.
The actions of Foley in this case were rightly justified, unlike Messine, who acted on an impulse without any evidence to support what he believed. The thing that we have to remember is that choosing to take the life of another human being, whether it be in murder or self-defense, is still clearly one action, killing someone. The circumstantial evidence will prove whether it was murder or self-defense.
I still think that our system of justice, if it works like it's supposed to work, will determine whether or not the act was whether or not the act should be punished and how it should be punished.
But that is a pretty big if, especially when you take into account all the corruption that exists in the U.S. justice system. Nevertheless, a trial by jury based on the everyday citizen's ethical standards will hopefully counteract all the high society payoffs and backroom deals that further impede an attorney's ability to give his client a fair trial. You'll never get rid of all the corruption, but by using this type of system, we as Americans can more readily assure that we are able to offer liberty and justice for all. For WBPS in Greenville, South Carolina, I'm Benjamin Edwards. Thanks for watching.